Hey everybody, I'm Michael from Night Noon Games, and I'm here to talk about the prep I'm doing for a new Shadowdark campaign that I'm running for a few friends. I'm calling this campaign Shadows and Fortitude, and I don't really have a super fleshed out version of what it's going to be, but I'm going to be using techniques such as Mike Shea's spiral campaign development to create the adventure as I go. So the first thing that I did, and this is something I've already done, was create a simple one-pager to go over what this campaign's about for my players. So as you can see, this is going to be, it's actually a page and a half, but I think it's going to be really helpful to the players. First, it goes over the introduction, which is where I just kind of talk about what my idea for the campaign is. And the next thing is Spiraled Yam, which discusses how the concept is one of spiral campaign development. So we'll be developing this world as we go, and this is a technique that Mike Shea has sort of invented and written a lot about. And then this is also going to be a yammed shape adventure. So just like the shape of a yam, early on in the adventure, it's going to be kind of narrow. I'm going to kind of, for the lack of a better term, railroad people into going on this initial part of the adventure. And then as we get through that part, it's really going to open up and it's going to be a little more open world and people are going to have a lot more options and it's going to be a lot more up to the players to decide what to do. And then as we get close to the conclusion, it's going to narrow down into the other end of the yam. I'm hoping this campaign will take 12 to 15 weeks, which I think is going to be a good amount of time. So I'll just have to make sure to keep players moving at a pretty good clip, which, of course, since I'm using Shadowdark, won't be very hard. Then, as Mike Shea talks about in much of his prep, you want to determine 6 truths of the region. So this is the truths of the realm. The realm is a small but prosperous land, buttressed by the sea to the east and rugged wilderness to the west. Learning to harness magic is not uncommon, but it's the magic of the wilds that worries people. The next one, though not as modern or populous as other cities of the world, the city of Mirkahos has been a shining beacon of civilization and pride of the realm. It has found this success through being a critical stop along the sea's inter-kingdom trade routes. The third truth of the realm, the remains of an ancient dragon turtle rest several miles offshore on a sandbar. Out of respect for the dragon turtle, which are revered by many religions, entrance to the area is strictly forbidden. Then we have the next one. The village of Treefell is rural, but it is not populated by bumpkins. Those that live there and other villages and towns in the region often prefer to do so as they enjoy a slower and simpler way of life. The next truth is several times over the last few months, bands of thieves have descended on Treefell, trouncing the locals and helping themselves to the belongings of the townsfolk. They have killed several villagers who dared to resist. Volunteers now supplement the forces of the village watch to warn of an impending visit. And then finally, roughly a year ago, 3 ships carrying several hundred people landed in the Bay of Mirkos. The city welcomed them with open arms. However, sentiment among the city's people has drastically changed against the visitors. I'll change that to swung. Has drastically swung against the visitors. They are suspected to be the cause of the rise in crime. The previously beloved Lord Percy has been ineffective in dealing with the problem. So if you've seen my videos before, you might recognize some of this stuff because it's actually part of my world building video series. So I'm going to use what I've been building in those world building videos and then apply it to this campaign. And then I think what happens in the campaign can then feed back into my world building videos to sort of help me populate the world and come up with ideas based on what my characters do. The next session of this quote-unquote one-pager is Embrace the Shadowdark. This just talks about Shadowdark as a game, how it's a bit swingy, and what to expect, especially because my players are used to 5e. We've played a few Shadowdark one-shots before, and actually I think one of the players hasn't done that yet. He wasn't there one of the times we did it. So that kind of goes over what to expect from the game. And then we have character motivations, which I just want to let people know that the people living in this world are used to its strangeness. However, it doesn't mean that they don't want better lives for themselves or their family or just for people around them. And the characters all have their own motivations, but they all must have a reason to partner with the party that's going to enforce that teamwork aspect of it all. And they also have to desire to right wrongs in some way or another. Every character, no matter what their class is, no matter what their ancestry is, they can come up with a good reason to, 1, work with other people to fight bad guys, or what they see in their eyes as bad guys, and then 2, just right wrongs. Everyone might have different ways of righting wrongs. For a chaotic player, that might just be going on killing sprees. Hopefully not, but that in their eyes would be righting a wrong. And then with the lawful player, it might be converting them to their religion or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Then we have character creation. This just goes over what is fair game to use in this campaign. We're just going to be pulling from the Shadowdark RPG core rules the first Curse Scroll, and then the Ranger and Bard supplement that Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library created. So we're keeping it kind of tight, but I still think there's going to be plenty of options. I think there's 4 here, another 2 is 6, and then the Curse Scroll 1, I think, has 2 or 3. So players will have options depending on how they roll. And then safety tools, of course. I'm just talking about what safety tools we're going to use. We've all played together for a year and a half now, so I don't think it's totally necessary, but I do think it's just a good habit to be in good form. Just whenever you're starting a campaign, having a check-in with everyone, making sure that everyone's aligned about what is on or off the table in terms of role-playing and in terms of what could happen. We just want to make the table feel safe for everyone and make sure that everyone can have fun. And then finally, remember the PACT. Now, this is one of my favorite parts of the Shadowdark core rules, and it talks about what the PACT is. And essentially what the PACT is, everyone's gaming together to have fun, to prop each other up, to strengthen bonds, both as players and then as the characters as well. And that is the PACT. It's often unspoken or unseen, but it is always felt, and it is based on goodwill, respect, fellowship. Its enemies are selfishness, antagonism, and arrogance. So decisions made to defend the PACT are always good ones. This is just a great reminder for people, like, hey, we're all acting as a team, and I think that makes things a lot more fun. The next thing I want to do is start prepping for the session 0, the first session. So I'm, again, using Mike Shea's Notion template to do this. I haven't really tried this for a campaign yet, but I've sort of messed around with it, and I'm excited to give it a shot. So I'll start with the session 0 notes. We already have some truths, so I can just copy and paste those over. What is the main drive of the campaign? This is the initial hook is going to be rid tree fell of invaders. Keep it safe. That's going to be the initial hook, and then it's going to grow from there. I don't know how much more I want to put in there because I honestly don't know necessarily where this is going to go, although I'm excited to see it go there. So I think that's just a good place to start. For villains, we can definitely create a villain card. Why not? So the villain card is going to be leader of the villainous group. Now, I don't remember if I've actually named that before. Let's see if we can find the villains in here. No, I haven't put the villains in here yet. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I never updated their names. But we don't know this person's name yet, so I'm just going to put leader of villainous group. And we can fill that in a little bit more later. We also know that this villain has Lord Percy at his mercy. That kind of rhymes. This was something that we determined in a world building video, and of course there'll be links to those probably down below. There'll also be links to other tools that I'm using down in the description below as well. So I think that's good enough for now. Yeah, and as an example here, it just doesn't have that much other stuff. It looks like there's some tags that I should add, like NPC and current. Awesome. That'll help things show up later on in the story. So what else do we have here? We were working on the Session 0 templates. Leader villainous group. There we go. And then we might come up with more, more will develop and show themselves as we go on. Patrons and factions. Who are the patrons and factions that the characters can be part of? What brings the characters together to adventure in this campaign? Share this with your players. So I'm going to lean on the players a lot to help me flesh this out, but a few initial ideas I had would be the Village Watch. They could be a member of the Village Watch. They could be a member of the City Watch who perhaps went to the village to help out or something like that. And then I'm sure players are going to come up with their own ideas, and I'll add those in here too and just run with it. Safety tools, we already talked about safety tools and where we're going to go with that. That's in the one-pager, so that's good. And then campaign inspiration. And I definitely want it to be a bit creepy, so I think a good one was going to be The Witch. Scary stories to tell in the dark. You know, and I think Mike Shea uses this one a lot, and I watched it in his recommendation, but I think it's true. The Ritual. The Wicker Man. One of the best musicals ever, am I right? And if I think of more, I'll add them in there, but I think that's a good start. Great, so I think we're done with our Session 0 notes, but I do want to potentially run a little bit of a encounter when all this happens, after we're building our characters, and I want them to like be able to grip something on that first session, session 0. I want them to actually be able to get going with the campaign. So first off, what you would usually do when preparing for a session is review the characters, and this is according to Mike Shea, aka the Lazy Dungeon Master, aka Sly Flourish's 8-step method to preparing to DM for a game. Since we don't know our characters yet, I'm just going to put in placeholder names, just using the names of the players, and then we can fill these in as we get closer. I don't need any of these passive scores, essentially. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'll just change one of these to AC, because I think that is a property that's like good to have. And then there's probably less chatting with the players about like, oh, can you do this? Like, can you, like, does this hit? Because if I have them handy, I might just know. I'm going to add new ones. I have Ken as one of the players. Then we have Reed, Kelly, Elliot, Kim. That's going to be a fun party. And then once we are able to, like I mentioned, once we develop the characters, I will fill in the rest of this. And maybe I'll add some more columns that are a little more specific to Shadowdark. So I'm going to create generate a new session planning template. Those are all there. Strong start. So the idea of the strong start is that you really want to get the action going. So I'm going to say, there's a call out to the city by the village watch that invaders have been spotted. This will get everyone called to action. I'm going to make it so that they all have a reason that they want to come to action. They'd want to have that call to action. They'd want to answer that call. So they might be in the village watch. They might be one of the volunteers. Like we said earlier, they might be having been assigned there from the city watch to look over it or somehow see what was going on. They just might be a business owner that cares about the rest of the village and wants to defend it. So we'll see what that call to action is. I think what's going to happen here is the church bells are going to be ringing, and everyone knows in the middle of the night that this means something's up. So they're going to go investigate it. So the first scene I'm going to put is, I'm going to start with a few solo scenes. So each character role plays where they were and what they were doing when the bells started ringing. And then as they all come together to find invaders. And I think hopefully they learn something from that, and that's where secrets and clues come from. So secrets and clues, the concept is that there are things that you might reveal during a session, and generally they're not tied to any one specific thing or one specific person or one specific place. And the reason for that is you don't want your party just to miss something. So the secrets and clues, the invaders or the bandits, I think I'm going to call them bandits instead of invaders. The bandits are working with a larger organization. The ship's landing a year ago was part of a larger plan. This group's leader is they're going to be based in the Market District in the Seat of Power. And this will not be the big bad. This is sort of a middle boss, because I have an idea for where the big boss is going to be, and I think they have to work their way up to them. We can come up for a name for them later, or you know what, we can just do it right now. Let's do that. So we have the Shadowdark rules, and I'm just going to roll some dice. There we go, dice roller. I'm going to roll names by syllable, so we need to roll 4d20. 1, 2, 3, 4. 13, 2, 15, 6. 13, Nell, 2, Nellish. It's a 5. Nelvishvinos. Neelish Vinos. That sounds much cooler. Neelish Vinos. So we're going to go into villains. Or I think there's more of an NPC than a big bad villain. Vinos, mid-tier boss, working for the League. That's not an official name. Directed the recent raids on Treefell. And we can flesh them out a little bit more later on as we go. Here's the thing that I want to keep fleshing this stuff out, but I don't think they're going to be able to make it to the city. The adventurers aren't going to make it to the city and meet this person in session 0 when we're playing realistically half a session, maybe even a little bit less. So I'm not going to overdo it here. I think the name is good, Neelish Vinos, because the bandits might talk about them, especially if they're captured or whatever. But we don't need to just flesh it out and stat it out right now. That's something we can do later. I do want to add a location. So we know they're going to be there. You know, I'm not even going to make one for Treefell. I'm going to have a tag for Treefell, since we know they can be found there. And I'm just going to pop in a few of the places that the characters might go within Treefell. So luckily I already have a bunch of this made because I was already fleshing it out. So the market, rare and exotic goods, standard shop. I'll just copy that right in there. That's easy enough. And then we have the slums. And again, this is Treefell. And then we have the Artisan District. You know what? Yeah, these don't. I don't think that each building has to have their own thing. I'll just put them all in one line here. And there's just those 3 districts there. So going back to the session notes, okay, locations are good. I don't know how fantastic they are. Oh, I didn't tag them under current. Okay. Oh, that's great to know. Below is a table view connected to the campaign database, filtered to entries marked locations and tagged with current. You can add or remove the current tag to have them automatically show up on future sessions. Since we are in Treefell, I'm going to actually go do that right now. Current. Excellent. Oh, and I guess I should probably label this session 0.5, 1, 2, 24. That's exciting. I do need to come up with a few more secrets and clues, so I think I'll add them in as I come to them. Maybe I have to reveal some random things, use some random generation. So I'll have to think on that a little bit more. NPCs. Below is the table. I think we actually should have more NPCs. Well, we can get rid of this person. I think we need an NPC that's probably the leader of the Village Watch. And I'm just going to roll for that name again because I think that's so much fun. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hillush, Eel. Hilloshgeel. That's fun. And I'm going to put those in NPCs. And I'm going to add a little Treefell. Leader of the Treefell Village Guard. This will be the person who's sort of leading everything. I kind of want to stat this person out a little bit too. So, not really stat it out, but kind of understand who they are, what they're doing, and all that stuff. So, roll D12 and then a D8 and then 2 D6s. So we know that this character is going to be a human, ancient, lawful, makes sense. Then their wealth is standard. And then I also like to roll on the NPC qualities tables. So I'm going to roll 3d20s. And we know that they are frail, makes sense because they're ancient, apologetic, and has a false identity. So I think when it comes to the false identity thing, I'm a little dubious of it and kind of want to re-roll it, But I'm thinking maybe he's going to reveal himself as someone who tried to infiltrate. Yeah, I think this is it. I think he's somehow infiltrated it. He's gone undercover to find information about these people, and he's rushing back. He's the one ringing the bell to warn everyone that that these invaders are coming because he has inside knowledge. So I'll just go and bring that over to here. I think there's a bulleted list. Come on. Cool. So, you know, the players might be meeting him at the church when he's like ringing the bell or whatever. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's a cool way to introduce this character. As for stats, we're going to make him something like, well, actually, what I've done here is I've actually taken all the Shadowdark monsters and put it in a database here myself, so I can look to see if there is a soldier. Soldier. Level 2. Oh, look at that. Awesome. Awesome. Great. I think that's great. Man, that's going to be easy. Temple of St. Tregnis is the Artisan District. So, scenes. Meeting. Who's the guy that I just. This guy at Temple before raid happens. And then battle ensues. I guess the question is, how am I going to set this battle up? Well, I don't think it's going to be a huge battle. I think that, maybe there's going to be invaders coming from different parts of the city, and they're going to be focused on just one section. The way that Shadowdark works, which is really convenient, that the enemies' levels, the NPCs' levels, roughly match what the players' levels are. So if I'm going to have 5 level 1 players, and maybe we're going to have this level 2 guy with them. So that's going to be 7 levels worth of stuff. So I want to put together the kind of battle that's going to allow me to, for that to be fair. And so here's where it lists monsters. This talks about how to calculate it for 5e, but I don't need to do that. Nice, which is really nice since Shadowdark makes it so easy. And I'm just going to delete all this stuff I don't need. There we go. And for the monsters, I'm going to sort this by level. Can I sort this by level? Sort ascending. And kind of pick out what kind of humanoid monsters I think might look good. There's a bunch of level 0 stuff. Skip all that. An apprentice, a cloaked magician with thin veil. Yeah, so I think it'd be fun to have an apprentice in there. Man, I think the best way to do this is going to put it on multiple screens, isn't it? So I know for a monster I want an apprentice. I think I want a few bandits. Probably 3 of those. Oh, a beast man. That's exciting. They're level 1. Oops. Beast man. Oh, we have to have a pirate, I think, in here. They should probably be like 1 level 2. Pirate. Why are level 2s after... Why are there 19s? All right. This is something that's clearly an issue that I'm going to have to figure out sometime soon. But I wonder if I can just filter by 2. Berserker, that's fun. If I could spell Berserker. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At 6 levels there, and I'll probably put like 2 pirates or something. And I can kind of play it fast and loose with some of this. And I may well put 2 apprentices, since I think they have spells. Yeah, they have 2 spells, and I think spells can be kind of scary, so that might be more fun. 2 apprentices, a bandit, so that's 2 levels, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's how many levels we'll have with the 5 players and the 1 NPC that'll be joining them. As for treasure, I love to use the random treasure generator in the Shadowdark core rules, so I'll probably just do that on the spot, and then I'll be able to write session notes down here. So this is essentially, I'm ready for the first session, which includes session 0, and sort of a half session after that. I'm really excited to see how this goes. If you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to like and subscribe to this video and my channel. And if you want more information on Night Noon Games, you can head to my website, nightnoon.games, right down below. I also just released a brand new game. It's a fantasy hack of lasers and feelings called Blades and Heart, and it only costs $1. I'm really excited about it, and it's been a lot of fun to make and put out into the world, so you can check that out too. Until our next adventure, keep those dice rolling. Thanks for watching.